Hello, welcome to our daily program here with My Coach Tools. I'm thrilled today that we have the executive coach, Ilene Schaffer, with us to tell us what's going on in the world. Hello, Ilene.
Hello, Senya, and hello, whoever's watching today.
Exactly. We hope you comment and we hope you give us questions, and we're going to have a discussion today about 3 powerful questions to boost the end of this year. But before we do, I just want to tell you a couple of things about Ilene. She's an executive coach. She's also really into walking. She has developed these really cool walking cards. She does walking coaching calls sometimes, so you may hear her referencing walking. But walking and coaching, those are Ilene's big things. So hi, Ilene.
Hello. Yes, and of course I went for my walk this morning. So,
Ilene, what are you hearing from some of the leaders that you're coaching in terms of what's on their mind these days?
Absolutely. The thing that has come up this entire week, back to back, and it doesn't matter what industry the client is in, it's just across the board, is this low motivation, both for self and also for the team. And I think being in December, that kind of wishy-washy month before we close out the year, is definitely contributing. So I am hearing it over and over again, whether it's a sole practitioner or whether it's a leader of many on a team. Motivation and is where people are.
I was just going to ask you, what exactly are you hearing? Are you hearing just a general, oh my gosh, what a year, and where am I? What is it? What does it sound like?
Yeah, I think, you know me, I always see things in visuals as I hear clients talking. And what I realize, the visual that really goes with where I think most of my clients are, and full disclosure, I've never run a marathon. So I'm going to now use a marathon analogy, never having run one. However, it's as if they've started a marathon in January, and about a quarter way through in their marathon, they hit this steep hill, the virus, and then it kind of goes like this, and then it just keeps creeping up and up and up and up, and you're running that marathon going, what is happening? I didn't expect this on the course. It was supposed to be a flat course, and then it continues, and now we're at the end of the marathon, the end of December, the end of the year that we've all been begging for. Let's get done with 2020. And I'd liken it, if I had run a marathon, to you're coming through and it's like, I need something. I'm just dragging. I can barely get through. And that's where some of my clients are, who are senior leaders. That's where they're feeling their team is as well. And, as you and I know, it's like, okay, you want to do some little tweaks just to help get you over the threshold. And so that's what we've been talking a lot about.
Wonderful, wonderful. We're going to ask the people who are with us today how they feel, and then we'll get into some of the tools of what you can do when there is this low motivation kind of thing.
Absolutely. I love it.
Question for everyone on the call. Would you please type in, how are you feeling now, today, near the end of the year? And I just want to normalize, Ilene and I were just on a call before talking about normalizing. You could feel ecstatic and you could feel lousy, and those two may be feelings at around the same time or the same moment. So you can give us great emotions, not great emotions. We welcome it all. How are you feeling right now at this time?
Yeah. I love how you say, so many times people think, kind of weird, but I feel exhilarated and I feel tired. You can feel so many conflicting things, or what seems to be conflicting simultaneously.
Absolutely.
And I do think one of the things that I am noticing as people are typing in is usually December can be kind of one of those just months where we're kind of slogging through to get to January. A lot of holidays start happening. People go on vacation. Given that it's such a unique year, it's hitting us so differently and more intensely. We don't have vacations to look forward to. We don't have the holiday parties to look forward to. So a lot of that stimulation that we depend on outside of work is just quiet.
I would agree with you. Even just spending holidays together with a larger family group, we're not doing that for the most part. Yeah.
Often we come back to December feeling maybe even a little boost of invigoration from Thanksgiving. But our Thanksgivings look profoundly different. So
what should we do? Ilene, what should we do? What are some of the things we should do?
Okay. Anything coming up that we want to share in terms of feelings?
No, not right now.
Okay, perfect. So some of the things, and this goes to, as coaches, we always ask questions. So there's 3 key questions that I think people can start to ask yourself and your team that can help bump you up and motivate you. So one is, what can I or what can we do now? So you've got, say, 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, depending on when you're going to stop your December, stop for holiday, the fictitious break, because we're still probably in the same space. But what goal might you set? And some of you might have seen the game changer talk that I gave. You might have a game changer on there that it's like, ooh, I want to just do that last push. It might be something, a work project. It might be something tiny that you can do and really put the fire under one small thing that can get you excited. And so what can you do now that will make a difference by year end? What you also might want to think about, and I think you touched on this in a previous talk, is if you feel like, okay, I'm kind of done with what we've been doing and I'm getting ready to plan for the upcoming year, what do you want to take one step on today so that when January 1 hits, you're one step into? So something small that you can do now, that creates a little bit of a fire in your belly.
I have a silly but fun personal story about that.
Yes.
One year, we all know that everyone joins the gym on January 1st, and then you go for the first month and you kind of drop off. One year, I was really deliberate about it, and I joined the gym or a fitness program, I don't quite remember, on December 15th. And I figured if I can do it for these couple of weeks and then keep it going, and it just felt like I was a little bit ahead of the game. It felt good.
Absolutely. And did you continue?
Oh, yeah. That was one of the most athletic I've been ever in my life. Yeah.
Okay. Lesson, people. Do something today. Don't wait till January 1st. The intensity of January 1st goals is all too much. And so do something today to kickstart. So you walk into January feeling maybe a little bit fitter or a little bit more on top of whatever you're doing at work. So what's that one thing you can do between now and when we really close out the year? And everybody has varying dates in December. So that puts the fire. A number 2 question is, how can we mix it up? How can the team mix it up? What can we do differently? I've heard a lot of people just feeling like it just doesn't feel novel. Nothing feels novel or exciting. I was meeting with a client yesterday, and she was, as we were talking, it was so clear that it's just, there's some boredom in terms of what she's doing. And I said, I'm hearing that you could use some stimulation. She said, yes, that's the word, stimulation. And so my guess is some of the people watching, you feel like, yeah, I don't feel super stimulated by my work. So how can your team mix it up? So to make it just feel different, a little bit of excitement. Okay, so that might be something else. So maybe something you've always done one way, maybe you sit down and say, you know what, I've got a couple of weeks before year end. I want to think out of the box. How do I do it differently? How do we do it differently?
And that's really clear. And I think it specifically fits with this year. And I wouldn't call it monotony, but just the sameness that we've been used to. I wouldn't call it monotony because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on at home. There's a lot of what else is happening. Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. And then that plays into, again, we often can feel stimulated by what's happening at home. This time of year can be really festive for people at home. So even if work feels like I'm not super stimulated, I'm a little bit bored, that's to be expected during this time of year, perhaps. And you get that excitement at home. You're decorating, you're getting presents, you're going to a holiday party, whatever it is. So that stimulation carries you through work. But when that's quiet and now work feels like ho-hum, it's time to mix it up and be proactive about mixing it up.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So the first one was what can I or we do now? And the second question is, how can we mix it up?
Exactly. And then the last one, and Senya, you know me with connection, it's who do we, and the actual question is more, how can we bring in others to spice it up? But it's all about connection. And this came up with a client the other day. She said, I feel like my team is really great at working together. And then there's a larger group who we work with, but almost like around. And she said, I'd love there to be some more collaborative opportunities there. That's when you can spice it up, is when you start to bring in, and it might be, you may be listening and saying, my team doesn't seem to be working real collaboratively, then that's where you start. If you feel like we're working great, but yeah, there are teams we interact with regularly that we could do some work, that collaboration can really spice things up even in December. People write off December. Thanksgiving hits and everyone's written December off. So let's not write off December and say, hey, who do we as a team want to bring in and do some fun things with, get some fresh ideas. And so with this particular client, she is going to do, which I can't report back yet. They haven't done it. Next week, I can tell you. But she is going to do Zoom and use breakout rooms. Mm-hmm. I'm finding my clients are not using breakout rooms to the best of their ability. And so taking whether your internal team or mixing it up with your team and another team and putting people in breakout rooms and giving a question for them to ideate on. And so almost creating little masterminds. Mm-hmm. And then coming back to the larger group with out-of-the-box thinking and fresh ideas. And so that's another way, is to just, when you feel like I've been staring at the same four walls and I'm stale, you probably are a little stale. So who can you bring in to spice it up? And my guess is you have something to offer them too that they haven't thought about. So there's that reciprocity of brain power.
Right. I'm left with this Ilene mantra of let's not write off December.
Exactly.
People.
I feel bad for December. It's everybody just assumes, and even I do the same. I'll think, oh, I really want to reach out. Somebody wanted to connect me with someone. I want to reach out to them. Oh, I'm not going to do it in December. They've already checked out. Well, maybe they're dying for a connection, So I think we need to give December some credit and some opportunity.
This is an ode to December.
Exactly. So
okay, let's say you're doing these three things. So let's say you've watched this show with Ilene and you are now stepping away and you're saying, what can I or we do now? What do we still, and if I understand the question right, what can we do now, both before the end of December, but also to kind of prep or prime January?
Yes, for sure.
So what can I or we do now? How can we mix it up? That sounds really fun. I love when some of the things and some of the tools that we give people, they're also not serious, that they're a little goofy too. How can we mix it up?
And I'll tell you, this is silly. I was meeting with a client yesterday, and I don't have the beta version of Zoom, but I know there's the one that you had showed us where you put lipstick on. There's all different things. So my client, she came to me with, she actually just had fun lipstick on, but she said, I've got to show you what my team and I did. And they all came with different things on their face. That mixes it up. And so it might not be anything else, but you just need to laugh. And we know from the research on laughter that can shift, it clearly shifts your mood, and it can shift your engagement too. And so it might be just doing something that's so quirky, like playing around with the new Zoom features, that all of a sudden you feel re-energized.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Ilene. I've even known somebody, a leader, who's gone in and in their first kind of get to know each other with the group, with the leadership group, has said, well, here's what I am, and here's what I believe, and here's what's important, and here's what's important for the company. And also, let's go with a little silliness around the room. Here's a silly thing about me. What's a silly thing about you? But it's just, how can we mix it up, whether it's in December or at a different point, but how can we even have the funnest meeting that we can have, even if it's unexpected and Wednesday at 11:30.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yep. So,
And then your third one of how can we bring in others to mix it up?
Yep. And the one thing I was going to say, going back to the mixing it up, we know also from just Barbara Fredrickson's work of broaden and build. If we can get those positive emotions going, all of a sudden your brain starts to just open up to
more creative, more brainstorming with our team. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, who else can we bring in to help stimulate fresh ideas and just, again, make it feel a little more fun and novel? I mean, we've all been kind of staring at the same people for the last, 9 months, whether we're working from home, which most of us are. And so who can we freshen it up with and kind of just add some new decor to our environment?
Exactly.
Physical, decor.
Ilene, if people were to take one takeaway or one idea from everything you've talked about today, what would you want them to have?
I would say first step back and say, what do I need? And I know that wasn't a question that I gave, but what do I need now? And you might want to throw that to your team too. What do we need as a team now? So that would be first. And then probably don't throw December away. Pick one of these things to reinvigorate yourself. It's still, we have, most people kind of start to shut down, say by December 23rd. So we've got nearly 3 weeks. It's just going to be so boring and blah for 3 weeks. That's 21 days that you could actually have fun with, that you can actually feel invigorated and motivated by. So don't give up. Instead, give yourself that injection. And it's almost like, let's go back to the marathon. And at the end of the marathon, you can either, as everyone's stumbling in, I have watched some of them on TV, not the whole marathon, but at the end, people are kind of almost deliriously stumbling in. And that's kind of where we are right now. And sometimes you just need some water, which I'm saying that the first one because of Senya. Senya always tells us to drink water. So sometimes you need some water to perk you up. Sometimes you need rest after that long marathon. Sometimes you need to stretch after that long marathon. Good nutrition. So what do you need at the end of your marathon? And so it might be something physically. Some people come into that end of the marathon and they're like, you know what, I need to sign up for my next marathon. And that's the person who's probably starting to set their goals for next year now. Mm-hmm. So think about, what do I need as I'm stumbling into the end of the year? And then take it from there. Yeah.
And if you could snap your fingers and almost everyone in the world were to take some action, what would you want that to be?
I would say mix it up. Just do something crazy, do something fun and crazy, because I think that energy will propel into all areas of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally know what you mean, that it can just show a little more personality of yourself to the people that you work with, which in turn can open up
which energizes them. Absolutely. I think the one other thing that I would do, so that would be the one thing to do in terms of the work environment. I would also, we bring up self-compassion all the time. I would say have some self-compassion too. This has been a wild ride, a wild marathon of a year. So having some compassion of course you're exhausted. Of course you're not as motivated. We do know that with resilience, it's tougher to be resilient over time. And we keep having things pile up on us. And just when we think there's a light at the end of the tunnel, it's like, oh no, there's a new tunnel. And so we've been going through this for a long time. So self-compassion and patience too, and self-care.
Yeah, kind of, you've gotten to the end of the marathon, soak your legs, relax.
Yeah. Totally. That's exactly it. Rest, take care of yourself and really know, what do I need to take care of me? And when you do that, you inadvertently take care of your team. So
thank you so much. Thank you.
You are welcome. Cheers to everybody and have fun in December.
Ilene's have fun in December and don't write December off.
Do not.